All right, our first step in building walls is laying out. Now, when you lay out for a building like this, what you want to do is make sure that your lines are parallel always. When you built your foundation, you spent a lot of time making sure it was square. So now that we have our platform here, we're very assured that this is square. We know this because when we put our plywood out, our plywood was lining up really nicely and everything was working out. So I'm not going to go over getting this area square again. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3.5 inches off the outsides and get my measurements to make sure that the space that I have inside is what I need for my building here. So first step that I do is I just take a rough measurement across the platform. And I have 18 feet 1/2 inch. And right here, I have the plywood, which is in a little bit at 18 feet, but the actual framing is at 18 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my framing down below as my measuring point, and I'm going to get a nice straight line 3.5 inches off my framing here. So the first thing I'll do is I'll make a mark at 3.5 inches. If it's just you, set a nail and hook your snap line to your nail. That's the inside of my first wall right there, that red line. Now what I'll do is I'll put a nail on my line in 2 spots. And I do it inside so it goes through the plywood, not into the hard wood, so I can pull it out easily later. All right, then I just hook my tape on my nail. And I come over. Now I'm 3.5 inches in from my 18 feet. So I come back 3.5 inches, 1, 2, 3.5, and I know that's where my mark is. So what I want to do is I want to pull in 3.5 inches on this side. But what I'm finding is I'm about 1/4 inch in. So I'm going to pull my mark over to 213 inches, and then I bring in 3.5, 1, 2, 3.5. And I do the same thing over here, and I use 213 as my number, which is right flush with the plywood. And I come over 1, 2, 3.5. And I snap a line. Now I know, since I've used the same measurement, that these 2 lines are parallel. And I'll continue to do the same thing going the other direction. First thing I do is I measure across. I have exactly 14 feet. And I measure across, and I have exactly 14 feet. So I can choose this side or that side to start my lines. I'll go on this side. Whoa, and I'll repeat my process. Set my nail right where these two lines intersect. And I'll come over here. And I know I'm going to be 14 feet less 3.5 will get me to, because I took 3.5 there, that'll take me to this edge. And then I'll take 3.5 more from my line. So 1/2 inch, 1, 2, 3. So that measurement is 161. All right, now I almost made a mistake there. I almost just reached over here and measured 3.5 inches. You never do that. You always come from the point that you started off. So we started on that side off that line and pulled over and got our measurement. We do that from this side as well. This way we're sure that these lines are parallel. Now my measurement was what? That's right, 161. So I make my mark at 161. Pull my snap line. Up, got a nail. All right, we have our four walls. All right, we've snapped our walls out, these lines for our walls. We're going to plate, but before we do that, we have to take care of our little crawl space here. I put the crawl space in like this because what I want to do is I want to cut right where our wall lines are. Again, that will still leave our crawl space intact, but what it will do is it will give us these strips in the right place for our walls to lay on. So I'm going to go ahead and nail this in place because I don't want it moving around. Again, these are galvanized nails because we're going into that pressure treated material. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut Well, you notice one thing is I didn't nail along this line. This is the piece that's going to be able to be pulled out. I'm going to cut right on this red line. And you know, if you overcut a little bit, nobody's going to see it because it'll be under the wall. All right. All right, here we have it. We have a space for our wall right along here, and we have our crawl space right here. Our crawl space done here, and it's fairly tough to get out. So what you want to do occasionally is you take your circular saw and just cut along the lines again, and just give it a little bit bigger gap, just so it's easier to pull in and out. Some people put little handles on them, whatever you want to do. In this case, I'm just going to leave it for now, and if it's too tough to get out later, I'll just trim it out a little bit.
Home Improvement Camp. Have at it.